Venti will be getting his rerun in 4.1, together with Riovsky, Nuvalet and Hu Tao. With all the animal characters being released till today, how does Venti fare against them? Should you forego one of the other banner characters to go for Venti instead? Let me give you my honest opinion as a day 1 Venti haver. First, let's share about Venti's kit. For his elemental skill, pressing it will summon a wind current to deal AoE animal damage and send light opponents flying. Holding his skill will also deal AoE animal damage, send light opponents flying, and also create a wind current for which your characters can fly on and glide with. For his elemental burst, he will create a huge storm eye, which will suck lighter opponents in. If it comes into contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo or Electro, the burst will also absorb that element and deal additional elemental damage of that type. His burst will also trap lighter enemies and render them immobile. For his Ascension Talent 4, after his burst ends, it will regenerate 15 energy for Venti and also energy for characters whose element was swirled. His passive will allow a 20% decrease in the consumption of stamina when gliding. For Venti, an energy recharge bow like the Favonius bow can be beneficial to ensure that he gets his burst back up quicker. An elemental mastery bow like the Stringless can also work to allow for higher swirl damage. For his artifacts, his best in slot will be the Viridescent Veneera artifact set, which will increase his animal damage, and the 4-piece will increase his swirl damage and most importantly, decrease the elemental resistance on enemies based on the element that was swirled. For teams, generally Venti can work well in Pyro, Cryo, Electro and Hydro teams as it allows animal to swirl those elements. That said, do note that as Venti's burst has some height, some shorter characters may not be able to deal damage when enemies are trapped in his burst. Before we proceed, I think it is important to first talk about the differences between Kazuha and Venti. Whenever we talk about Venti, he's almost always compared to Kazuha, even though they are actually quite different in usage. So, let me first share what are their similarities and differences. For their similarities, both have elemental resistance threat from the Viridescent Veneera artifact. Both of their ultimates also can swirl Electro, Cryo, Pyro or Hydro and continue to apply the element, which can help to extend elemental application for additional reactions from other members. For their differences, Kazuha is more of an elemental damage buffer, as seen from his kit also boosting elemental damage of his teammates. Venti on the other hand, works best as a crowd control to suck enemies in, which allows your characters to deal more damage while at the same time rendering those enemies unable to move. If you are enjoying the video so far, do consider leaving a like so that the YouTube algorithm will be able to notice this small channel. Thank you so much. Now that we have covered Venti's kit, builds and teams, let's move on to talk about his pros. Firstly, Venti is the best crowd controller to date. While Kazuha will pull enemies closer, they do not get stunned for long. Venti's burst, however, will trap smaller enemies and render them immobile for 8 seconds, thereby giving you 8 additional seconds of damage. This is especially beneficial in the Spiral Abyss floor with the Monolith. Secondly, as Venti is an animal character, he can utilize the Viridescent Veneera artifact set to decrease enemies' elemental resistance to the element swirled, acting as a support. Third, being an animal character, you can pair Venti with another animal character to activate the animal resonance, thereby granting you faster movement speed for traversal. This is especially useful for exploration of the new areas of Fontaine. Finally, as holding its elemental skill will summon a gust of wind for you to glide on, it can aid you in vertical traversal and help you to get to heights where you normally can't. This ability, when paired with Kazuha, will allow you to fly even higher. Having covered the pros, let's move on to the cons. Firstly, Venti's burst is mainly for smaller and lighter enemies. If you are using it against bosses that cannot be caught in his elemental burst, it will make him quite useless in that situation. Secondly, Venti's burst is very inaccurate and hard to aim correctly. Often, you have to move some distance away before activating it, otherwise his burst may auto-target the wrong enemy or be shot too far behind, thereby preventing any swirls from happening. What's more, if you would like to use Venti for debuffing enemies, only his skill becomes viable given how hard it is to aim his burst. Finally, although his elemental skill is good for gaining height for faster traversal, the skill takes too long to activate and has a rather long cooldown of about 12 seconds, which means that you cannot use it as often as you would like. Having covered all of the pros and cons for Venti, should you pull for him? As much as I like Venti, I would say it depends. You can pull for him if number 1, you're looking for a good crowd control character that can totally immobilize enemies for you to deal damage. Number 2, which complements the previous point, you're currently struggling with the abyss flaws with the monolith and need help with Venti. Number 3, you can also pull for him if you are trying to collect all of the Archons in Genshin. You shouldn't pull for him however if number 1, you're looking for a damage buffer to reduce the enemy's elemental resistance. Other characters such as Kazuha, or even the free 4-star Lynette, may be better since they can more accurately swirl the right element. Number 2, you're looking for faster traversal. While Venti can allow for faster climbing with his skill, Kazuha, or even the Wanderer might be better for this as their skills activate faster and have shorter cooldowns as well. So, will you be pulling for Venti? Do let me know down in the comment section below. If you found today's video helpful, or you just enjoyed it in general, do consider leaving a like, comment and subscribing if you haven't, as it will really help out this small channel. If you would like to see more on how you can create your own perfect teams, please click the video on the right. If you would like to see my other Genshin Impact videos, please click the playlist on the left. Once again, thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye!